Joe Rogan's recent podcast featuring Bilal Muhammad, Joe made a comment about Ariel Helwani that Ariel has responded to earlier today on the MMA Hour. Joe said to Bilal that Ariel tries to get people to say things regarding Ariel's interview with Sean Brady after Bilal defeated him at UFC 280. Ariel fired back saying, "What the f*** is that all about? First of all, I didn't get Sean Brady to say that. Sean Brady just offered that up on his own. How could I have gotten him to say that? And what does that even mean in general? It's especially rich coming from the guy who was pushing false narratives and false information and fake information and all kinds of nonsense over the past few years, to the point where people were demanding he get dropped from Spotify, which I never agreed with. But that's rich. Of course we know what the history is with Joe. He's Dana's boy. He's always going to have his back. But what are we talking about? Ariel Helwani likes to get people to say things. I ask questions, people answer them, I move on. This is a very tired and honestly, and again I didn't see this so I'm going by what is being said to me here, and we know that Bilal isn't exactly the biggest fan of mine, so I don't know exactly what the whole context was, and all that nonsense. It's amazing to me that a guy who sits on his chair with his headset and this microphone thinks I'm getting people to say things. What are you talking about? At least I ask people questions about, topics that I'm somewhat well versed in, as opposed to someone who sits in front of his guests and pretends to know more about a topic when they're talking to an expert and pretends to be interested about the topic."
All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. What a topic for today. So we've got Ariel Helwani and Joe Rogan getting into it, back and forth, a heated exchange. Ariel really is, dude, he's like, it's like years and years of him just like kind of accepting people saying things about him. It's like now if you're even like, I think Ariel has dirty glasses, he's all, "Oh, is that right? You think I have dirty glasses, son? How about I take these dirty glasses and I use them as a magnifying glass and I burn your toys? How about that? What if I did that?" You're all, "No, I was just saying like, I was trying to help you see better. I was just saying like, you'll probably see better if you clean your glasses." He's all, nah, that's not what you meant, dude. That's not what you meant, dude. That's not what you meant. Give me your favorite toy. I'm burning it. Anyway, so he's got into it with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan made some relatively innocuous comments. I think that in Ariel's response, though, which I will go over in detail, quite a timely response in terms of me getting to comment on what Ariel said about Rogan. But you're going to get the Jesse on lukewarm version because guess what? I just spoke. Shout out to Sam Tripoli. I spoke to Sam Tripoli this morning, and he gave me the following advice: you got to keep it Christian when you're on the cruise ship. Obviously, that is a stand-up comic reference because I received a second strike on my other channel. Which just means I don't understand the guidelines. That's all it means is I don't understand the guidelines over there. And then I found out in turn that if I got a third strike on that channel, that it would delete this channel. And I was like, oh, well, that's an easy decision. I'm not playing. And I deleted every single piece of content on that entire channel. So Jesse on everything, gone. It's gone. And you could tell I'm really broken up about it. It never really felt right. I got to be honest with you guys. It never really, it was like, I liked talking about that stuff, but I could, I just knew, I'm like, this is not this channel's not going to be the vehicle that does it. I just could always feel it. So, barring some overzealous person at YouTube being cruel and unusual after I already deleted all the content, like finding a reason to give me a third strike on a piece of content that's not even up anymore, I think we're safe. But nonetheless, so Jesse on lukewarm for the foreseeable future, because that was scary enough that it was like, all right, if I don't understand the guidelines, let's just scale it back a little bit. Like you might not even hear me swearing for a while. You know what I mean? I'm playing by their rules, and I can be funny even when I'm playing it Christian on the cruise ship. Thank you, Sam Tripoli. So anyway, but I am going to comment on what Ariel said because I have some thoughts on how people should have to qualify things that they say on the internet now. And I'll say the same thing about Joe. I'm going to say the exact same thing about Joe that I'm going to say about Ariel. And I will give you the example when we get there. But before we get there, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. For some reason, I lost a few subscribers this morning, which is kind of weird. I don't usually scroll and all of a sudden, lost 2 subscribers, that's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on, but if you don't mind, subscribing to the channel if you're going to watch my content. Handshake. You're on the other side. You're shaking my hand. You didn't realize that you were shaking my hand, but you are. So it's a gentleman's agreement. I can't enforce it, but just be a person that lives up to your side of the deal. I work really hard. I literally was having an anxiety attack all day yesterday because I love this channel so much. I've worked so hard on it. So all you need to do is just click subscribe and you're doing your part to contribute to my success. And I really appreciate it. So, anywho, so getting into this story, basically you have Ariel, who, like I said, is Ariel Helwani, like battle rap Ariel. It's not even Helwani anymore, really. It's like, he's just, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe. He's a live wire, dude. He just wants to fight. Like, he loves to fight now. I don't know if it's like his shtick, or if he just got a taste of blood and he's like a shark now. And he's like, oh, someone said something about me, I'm coming for him. But the story in a nutshell is Rogan said, I guess he had Bilal Muhammad on his channel, and Bilal was like, I don't know, they were talking about something, and Rogan was like, he's like, but Ariel's like, he's like trying to get people to say things. He's like getting into these narratives, and he's like trying to get people to say things. And, I don't really fully understand, like, so as an example, I know when Ariel's response, I know exactly what he's talking about. I certainly have an opinion on what he's talking about, and I will have some words about the thing that he said. But when it comes to Rogan, it's like, okay, so this is basically my take on all of this stuff. Is when people are going to, and I think Rogan in his mind said a relatively innocuous thing that he didn't think he really needed to qualify. But here's my position on this stuff now. If you're going to say a thing about a person, I think you should have to cite examples, just if you're going to say a thing, cite an example, right? So that someone can defend it and respond to a specific thing, right? So as an example, I don't know, just in recent history, Rogan could have been like, did you see when Ariel had Jamal Hill on? He tried to kind of take him down this weird narrative where Jamal Hill was defending men hitting their wives if their wives hit them first. And it was weird. He was like trying to get him to say it, which clearly that was not what he was saying if you were listening to him talking or looking at what he actually said on the internet. And it looked like he was trying to get him to say things. Like, yeah. Because you would be like, yeah, that is a very defensible position. That is exactly what that looked like to me, right? So that's my example on the Rogan side. So Ariel said, though, in his response that when Ariel was in his lowest point, that Rogan had some nasty things to say about him, right? Now, given my experience yesterday, okay, like in the event that would have gone like real bad, where if I, because here's it, like I said, I'm taking this as a thing of, I'm taking this as something I'm grateful for because I was ignorant. I did not realize that anything I did on that channel was risking this channel. I had no idea. I literally had no idea. I didn't know until yesterday. And so that changes things immensely. I had no idea. And so as long as the unthinkable doesn't happen, where somebody decides to single me out and go look at some old piece of content that I already deleted and just like strike me and then they delete it, as long as that doesn't happen, this will have been a good thing because it alerted me to the fact that I was putting this channel at risk talking about things over there and I was unaware of that. But hypothetically, if that would have happened and they would I would have found out the hardware that they're like, oh yeah, we just, we struck this one, and we just deleted both your channels. And I found that out. It would have been, I would imagine, probably very similar to how Ariel felt when Dana pulled his press pass, and he was on the show crying, right? So trust me, if that would have happened and then I went online and there were people gloating or talking negatively about me in that moment, believe me, I would have never forgot. I would have never, never, ever, 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 ever forgot, So, someone made a joke yesterday and I blocked him. I was just not in the mood, man. It's like, it's one of those things like this whole thing, the whole thing about, and I've said this a million times on the channel and I will reiterate it now. People losing their careers or losing things that they work for is not only do I never root for that, but I find it utterly reprehensible when people are like yay about it or are even like flippant about it, where they kind of, like that is a catastrophic thing to happen to a person when they've worked super hard for something and they have it taken away from them. And so, and I've always felt that way. I've always had a ton of empathy for people who like build a business and something happens and they lose their business or whatever. And so, I don't know. It's like most people just have never built anything. They've never really worked super hard for something, and so they don't really even understand. And they certainly have never worked really hard for something and then lost it and then understood. Now I have, you know. But at least like even with Major League Fantasy, it was like a slow motion thing. It wasn't like all at once in one moment, you know, my press pass got pulled or something like that. You know what I mean? Or people who have lost their YouTube channels. I mean, dude, I feel for them now, man. Like just the idea, just even having to entertain that could have happened yesterday was like, you know, like I'm pretty sure that they're actually appealing the one that they gave me. It's possible they reverse it, like, and I don't even have 2 strikes, you know. But I'm just saying, like, just even having to entertain the idea that could have happened got me to a place where I got to feel like, okay, this is what I would have felt. It's like it's a complete catastrophe, you know, like it's just like completely devastating. So I never ever do that. Like I never cheer for people losing their shit, even if like the Young Turks, you know, who I think are malicious actors who just spread. You know, they're just, I don't know, they're just nasty. Like they're nasty. They do nothing but attack people. And I don't like that on either side. I really genuinely don't. I don't really candidly, I don't feel like, I don't want to say anybody specifically other than the Young Turks, but there's no political affiliation that I'm down with people who just attack people all the time at all. I don't like their channels. I don't watch them at all. I don't like it. I think they're nasty. I don't think they're doing any good. I don't think they're having good conversations. I don't think that anything is getting accomplished, and I just don't watch them. But even them, you know, who cheer for people getting canceled, I feel nothing good about that at all. I really genuinely don't. So anyway, that's a long way of saying that I understand Ariel holding a grudge if he felt like Rogan did that. But in this case, Rogan said the thing that he said, and Ariel went off, dude. Like he's like, oh, well, he's like, what does that even mean? An interviewer trying to get people to say things. Now, I think Ariel knows exactly what Joe meant. But, you know, framing it like that, you know, an interviewer trying to get people to say things. What does that even mean? I mean, that's, you know, like, that's kind of funny. It's like, I mean, that is kind of the whole point of interviewing, but that's obviously not what Rogan meant, right? But nonetheless, and then he was like, that's rich coming from someone who spread all these false narratives all the way to the point where people wanted him kicked off Spotify. And it's like, Oh, here we go. Here it is. So here's my point about that. You shouldn't be able to say that and not go, hey, specifically, what did he say? Like specifically, what did Rogan say? What false narrative did Rogan say? Okay. What did he say? What's the false narrative that he said? Cite it. Like say exactly what he said. Because at that point, now you open yourself up to say, like, you're making a blanket accusation without backing it with any facts, right? It's like me going, Ariel, well, everyone knows Ariel is a racist. Everyone knows that. You're all, why? They're all, because someone said it. It's like, all right, but is he actually racist? They're all, they wanted him kicked off Spotify. It's like, I mean, obviously I'm mixing, but you know what I mean? It's like, you're just throwing an accusation. It's like, all you know is someone said that. Why don't you throw a specific incident that you're saying that he spread that he spread misinformation about? What's a false narrative that he spread? What is it? So that people can then go, here, Ariel, here's your inbox. You know, was it false, or are you saying something false? Because if you're saying that he spread misinformation and whatever he actually said has subsequently been proven to be true, then you're the one spreading misinformation. And, without getting into specifics, Jesse Lukewarm, I have a feeling that that's exactly what would happen in the event that he was willing to say, like, he said this, be like, oh, you haven't been paying attention lately, huh? You know what I mean? So that's my opinion now. If you want to throw accusations, be specific. Let people respond to specific incidents. Because people, I mean, again, this is a topic, I can't get too hard on this particular one for obvious reasons. But like, come on, right? I assume that a lot of you saw Ariel say that and were like, oh, dead to me. You know what I mean? Like, oh, really? Really? Oh, you're jumping in that pool, huh? Jumping in that pool. Not a very good time to jump into that pool, dude. Especially not in the MMA community, you know? That's like 75 to 80% on Rogan's side on that. So, yeah. Cite specifics. Be specific. What exactly are you saying he said that was false? Or are you just quoting someone who said that? Because I'm drawing a blank. And believe me, I was paying very close attention. What specifically did he say that ended up being false? You know, not what they said was false then. What now we know was either true or false. What did he say? I honestly don't know what Ariel's referencing, but I would love to know. I'm very curious what people consider to be false narratives that Rogan spread then, you know, and then I would be curious what they consider to be solid source of information where they can verify these things. You know what I mean? Because it certainly won't be Jesse on everything anymore. You know what I mean? It won't be there. But yeah, so this is Jesse lukewarm. If it's still tolerable, then good for you. Don't burn people's favorite toys with your glasses, Ariel. That's not nice, dude. They were just saying a thing, dude. They're just saying a thing. Everything doesn't need to be a battle rap, dude. Everything doesn't need to be a battle rap. I've been pretty consistent here, dude. Like I am supportive of, like I'm never directly on one person's side or the other. I generally defend Rogan like 99.999% of the time because I agree with him on everything. I generally don't tend to align with the Young Turks like ever, you know, but that's because I think they're just being nasty. And Ariel, I support him when I think he's right, and I will call him out when I think he's wrong. And in this case, I think that he is missing some serious context that he should seriously look into before he starts throwing around accusations like that because, you know, people get their lives ruined from things like that if they're not Joe Rogan. And it's not because they said something that wasn't true. You know what I mean? So anyway, that is what I've got. Subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends. Peace.